Welcome to Crossing Streamz, Ep03. I'm Sean. That's
I'm
Anthony.
Anthony.
Hey, Anthony.
Hey.
Good news for Crossing Streamz fans. We are now on iTunes. Search for Crossing Streamz. That's with a Z,
hmm
and you'll find us. I believe the picture is still the ghost from Ghostbusters with
Nope.
his...
It's
No?
it's not. Nope.
Oh, you put the movie reel on.
I did.
Nice. Yeah, and
I did.
we have an official logo, too.
That's right. We have to thank someone too. Let me go back to the page because I took it down. 'Cause that's what I like to do. I like to be prepared for something and then just snatch it away from myself.
Nice.
All right. Come on. Come on.
Are you
All
ready?
right. David Johnson on Google Plus.
Thank you, David
Yeah.
Johnson.
He actually hooked us up with a few logos and little things that we can use in the future. I really like this logo because it has like that 80s, the 80s feel to it. You know, it's got those retro colors.
You mean the current AMC movie theater logo?
Is that what it is?
Well, it's not what it is, but that's how I feel when I go to AMC movie theaters.
Gotcha.
Like it's 1987.
You know what?
And
I've never been to an AMC movie theater.
you can go there you can go to an AMC and it's on Sunday and it's basically like church. They hold church at AMC theaters.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Wait, are you serious?
I'm dead serious. 10 a.m. on Sundays.
Oh, jeez. That's awesome. So if you're looking for a good church to go to, visit your local AMC theater.
Yeah, we don't have any AMC's back home in Pennsylvania, but down here in North Carolina, we have. There's one right around the corner. It's funny every time I drive past it.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, David, for the cool logo. We love it. We're using it. It's all over. It's on the iTunes. It's on Facebook. It's all over the place. So we really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So if anybody's looking for any logos, you can search out David Johnson on Google Plus.
Yep.
Yeah. So let me just tell you real quick about my experience at Best Buy today.
Okay.
I just came back from Best Buy. Well, two places. I went to Best Buy to look for a podcast mic, and I made a decision to get a snowball. I saw that they had it at Best Buy. I went to Best Buy, and I don't know if you know this, but Best Buy employees know nothing, and I'm sure you know that.
That's a known fact.
Yeah, they don't know anything. They're just blue shirts. And I first of all I asked the person where the microphones were. He sent me to a totally different direction. I actually passed the microphones on my way to where, like, he told me it's where the mice are and all that stuff. But I found it myself. So I go there. They don't have the snowball. There's a Guitar Center across the street. So I went to Guitar Center. I said, and this is about 7 o'clock, and well, a little bit before 7. You had just texted me and said you'll be ready at 7:30. So I was like, great. So I'm trying to get the snowball before the show. I get there, and they have one left. Now Amazon has it for $60. They have it for $99. So they're willing to price match it. The only one they have available is the one that's on display. There's the tripod isn't there, and the USB isn't there, which is supposed to come with it. So, needless to say, I don't have the snowball yet. I did order it, and it's like 2 towns away, but I didn't have enough time to actually go get it. So it should be in the mail. I should have it. Well, not in the mail, but it should be at this store soon. So I should have it for the next show, hopefully. Crossing fingers and crossing streams.
Yeah. I tell you, I use the Blue Yeti or the Yeti or.
Yeah, and you sound great.
Yeah, well, this thing's got gain adjustment. It's got all these different pattern pictures. I don't know what any of them mean, but whatever it's on, it works. So I don't touch it.
Yeah, whatever setting it's on, it's good.
Yeah, I eventually want to build some sort of, I want to get a mic arm mounted to the table. That way I can actually, move it around. It's not just sitting here stationary.
Right.
But,
those things get pricey.
Yeah, well, I
They
need a
get really
bigger
pricey.
desk.
The boom mics, they get a little pricey. I do want one of those too, but that'll come in time. Hopefully, we get somebody to sponsor us and send us some things. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I would
Wink, wink.
talk about it all day and night.
That's right.
So this week we watched American Werewolf in London.
Which this was your first time, right?
This was my first time. We'll get to that in a few minutes.
Okay.
What's Netflix summarize this movie as?
All right, American Werewolf in London. After surviving a vicious werewolf attack that left his friend dead, an American backpacker in London becomes a murderous werewolf himself. Prowling the streets of London, he learns that his living dead victims will wander in limbo until he's dead. That's all it has. That's basically what the movie's about.
Now, did you recognize any of the people that were in this movie? I mean, it was 81, so it was before my time. And
it was 81.
Yeah.
It was 81. The only one that I recognized was Jack.
You did?
Yeah, the first person that died, his buddy.
Mm-hmm.
I recognize him. He shows up a lot of places. He gets steady work.
That's Griffin Dunn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where Harry Potter went to. He picked Gryffindor.
Oh, okay.
No, it's Gryffindor. It's a joke.
I
you missed it, dude. Come on.
Well, you know what? I haven't seen any of the Harry Potter movies.
I need a laugh track.
Yeah. Because you're the funny one, right? You're the only funny one.
That's right. No, because I laugh at your jokes.
I'll tell you what. When I was watching the movie, actually when I was watching the credits, the only people that I recognized was Frank Oz, because he's the voice of Yoda, and
right.
A lot of the Muppets.
Well, Frank Oz is part of the he's part of what's his name, Jim Henson.
Yeah, Jim Henson's workshop.
Yeah. And
John Landis, because he directed Thriller, the music video, and a whole bunch of other 80s movies. A lot of the Brat Pack movies, Breakfast Club, blah, blah, blah. That's not a movie title, but it should be. All the Pretty in Pink, Breakfast Club. I can't remember which ones, but those were the only two names that I really recognized. It was. I tell you what I found funny about this movie. I watched it on Amazon Prime, and it was in square screen. They didn't convert it to widescreen.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It just kind of made me laugh and realize that there are still some movies that are not widescreen or converted to high def.
Mm-hmm. That's actually how it was on Netflix too. I watched half of it a couple of days ago, and I tried to watch the other half last night, but Netflix was acting buggy, so I watched it on Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. So it was a good backup. Now, so the movie opens up. They're in the back of a truck.
Mm-hmm.
They actually show like sheep first, and then the truck stops and they pop up they pop their heads up out of the sheep, and they get out, and you get the idea that they hitchhiked to wherever they ended up.
Yeah, like almost like they're
backpacking.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. And they're in, where were they? They weren't in London. They were
in England. They were in like a small little town, and I can't remember. I don't think they said the name of the town.
Right. It looked like they were in the Shire.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so they're just walking, and they're backpacking. They're backpacking through Europe, I guess, and they're walking. They're getting cold. They're talking about different things. And they end up at this bar, and it's called the Slaughtered Lamb, which is sign number one. Get the hell out of there.
Yeah,
what kind of bar is called Slaughtered Lamb? And it was funny because he goes, Jack, the character played by Griffin Dunn. He says they have a logo on the bar, and it's just a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Where's the lamb?" Because it says Slaughtered Lamb, but there's no lamb there. And I mean, there were a lot of I'm not what is it called, like where it's kind of telling you the future.
Foreshadowing.
Right. Excuse me. There was a lot of foreshadowing to what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And there was definitely like throughout the whole bar scene, it was very uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Very very tense. You had a good clue of that there was something that was kind of sketchy about the place. Mm-hmm. But to kind of go off on a side tangent, I did have a question. Have you ever gone anywhere, walked into a room or into a building where you immediately felt out of place or unwelcomed?
I never have, and that's mainly because when I walk into somewhere, the whole place doesn't stop and stare at me. I'm sure if that happened, I would be really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that happens to me at every nightclub I ever went to in my early 20s.
Well, that's because you were in Harlem.
It was like the whitest man in America walking in.
Stay out of Harlem, Sean.
Yeah, Harlem, Pennsylvania.
That's right.
Tell you what, though, in my early 20s, I did. I don't know if you ever did, but I actually thought about going on a trip somewhere, backpacking somewhere. Maybe not Europe, although it sounds pretty cool. Europe's pretty big. Probably not as practical, and if you get stuck somewhere or if you get robbed, you're screwed because you're in another country. They don't speak English, not very well in most cases.
Right.
If you walk across the country or you take a trip across the country and something happens, at least you're in the same country. Insurance is still good. There's no hoops to jump through and any of that. But that's something I always wanted to do. But I mean, I'm almost, I'm a little older now, so it's not really practical for me. I have a career, I have a kid,
Sure.
But it would be fun.
I, on the other hand, have never thought about that. I've always wanted to go like cross country, but across America.
Yeah.
Not across some foreign land.
Yeah, not somewhere where you can get misplaced and no one ever hears from you again.
Exactly. Exactly. So they're in the slaughtered lamb, and like you said, it's an uncomfortable feeling, and they don't serve anything but liquor, evidently.
And tea by request.
Well, by request, she offered them. She said they don't serve it, but she'll make them some tea, which was very nice of her.
She was a dear.
She was a dear. And they look on the wall and they see a cross, right? A five-star cross.
A pentagram.
But so how many points is that? Isn't it 5 point? Yeah. Right?
Yeah, 5 point. Yeah. It's a star, basically, essentially.
Right. And they recognize the fact that it's a witchcraft thing, right? And I'm not sure if they recognized that it was witchcraft. Yeah, he recognized it in the bar that it was witchcraft. And they go through. It's funny because one of the people at the bar are telling a joke, and he has like the strongest accent ever, like hillbilly England accent.
It was almost like an Irish accent to a degree.
Right. It was just obnoxious. It was an obnoxious accent, and he's telling a joke, and the whole time, Jack is asking whatever the other guy's name is. He's asking him. He's telling him ask about the star. Ask him about the star, and they're laughing. They're like, ask him about the star. Ask him about the star. So he gets done. The other guy gets done with the joke, and he laughs. Right. Okay, David.
David is Jack's friend.
Okay. So while everybody's laughing, Jack starts laughing, and he goes, "What's the star on the wall for?" And everybody just stops and stares at him.
If there was music playing, a record would have scratched.
It would have scratched. You're right. It definitely would have. And apparently somebody missed a dart in the bar, and he was pretty pissed about that.
Yeah, he was not a happy camper.
Right, and he was so mad that they asked him to leave. I don't know what they did wrong. They didn't really do anything wrong. All they do is ask a question.
Well, I mean, they were pretty. I could tell they were really young and extremely uncultured is not the word, but
wet behind the ears.
yeah, they were pretty blind to the obvious,
Mm-hmm.
I would say. And if there was any type of Wiccan or any type of pentagram or anything on the wall, any type of religious symbol,
Mm-hmm.
I would get out of there real quick.
Yeah, but in this case, they should have stayed.
Very true. Because they almost tried to warn him, but they didn't really care.
Well, this is what they told him. They told him to stay on the road,
Mm-hmm.
keep clear of the moss, and beware the moonlight.
Mm-hmm.
In which they did the complete opposite.
Yeah, that was the smartest thing for them to do.
Right. So, okay, let's take this guy's advice and do the complete opposite. So they left the road, they went into the moss in the bright moonlight.
But I mean, in a way, it kind of worked out for David because, even though Jack got tore up, which was a pretty cool scene.
It was a really good scene.
I mean, if you think about it too, the way that it was edited and the way that it was shot, and you didn't really see the werewolf.
Right.
You just saw maybe over his back, his right shoulder as he was tearing Jack a new one. The way they left Jack, with all that makeup on, before he starts to wander, but the way they left Jack, the way it was all torn up and missing chunks of flesh, was actually really well done.
Yeah.
The makeup was great. It actually revolutionized makeup for horror movies in the 80s.
Sure.
But David, he got a girlfriend out of it.
He did get a girlfriend out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just to go back to what you said with the scene where he's getting ripped to shreds.
Mm-hmm.
It was done well enough, and fast enough to where you don't really have a chance to say, okay, let me see how fake this looks.
Well, but you got to think of the time too.
It was great. It was perfect.
It was very well done. And then the quick edit or the quick cuts to to the guys with the muskets or the rifles or whatever they were. They seemed to be medieval guns almost.
Yeah, muskets. You're right.
But just the way it cut to that, it cut to a head-on shot of them firing their guns, and then it cut to the hospital.
Right.
With David with scars on his face and on his chest. You're like, what happened? It draws you in a little bit more.
Right. I mean, you kind of get some type of idea because when they shot the werewolf, David looks to the side and it's like a human, kind of like at the end of the transformation, back to becoming human. Mm-hmm. So you kind of get an idea from that, and then he ends up in the hospital, which I think took so long. He was in the hospital way too long.
Yeah, plus his wounds were already cleaned. Mm-hmm. They said that there was a police report that Jack was already buried. Although, did they say he was buried in the old town and then I can't remember. Maybe I missed.
Say that one more time because you went out.
Did Jack at the hospital? Did they say that Jack was buried in the town where he and David were? Or because I remember Jack saying later in the movie that he was buried in New York. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
But yeah, he was in the hospital for he was asleep for 3 weeks.
Right, he was in a coma.
Was it a coma? Okay.
Yeah.
So he was out for 3 weeks, and then he gets discharged the night before the full moon. So I guess in effect he was only conscious for 5 or 6 days in the hospital.
Yeah.
And then
I do want to say this. Just to go back like a few scenes. I forgot to mention this. Do you remember when they were leaving the bar and the lady that made them tea, she goes, maybe the rain will help them, will save them from the werewolf. So one thing we know about werewolves, rain doesn't stop a werewolf. So that's a rule. Rain does not stop them. And what happened to never leaving your friend behind?
Yeah, that was he just took off.
Yeah, he took off while Jack was getting shredded into. I mean, he was like a wheat thin, and It was definitely way better. It was way better shredding than what Teen Wolf did to that bully.
Oh yeah.
In Teen Wolf, it was definitely better than that. He cut through that shirt.
Hey, you know what though?
What?
If that were you and me, I'd totally leave you there.
Yeah, I would probably trip you and then run. So back to the hospital. I will say this: hello, nurse.
Absolutely.
Because she was on the hot side.
She was pretty cute.
I liked her. I liked her. She had a plain, not a plain look to her, but she wasn't like, maked up. Or she didn't have a caked up face or anything like that. Like she was genuinely pretty.
She wasn't overdone. Jenny Augeter, I believe, is her name.
Yeah, I was ogling her. That's what I was doing.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, she was really hot.
She does a lot of British stuff, a lot of British TV shows.
Yeah, she was hot. How about the rude doctor? He was rude.
The old guy.
In the beginning, yeah. He's like, don't you have some type of function here? Yes, doctor. Well, maybe you should get to it.
Get to stepping.
Yeah, get out of here. That was really funny. I was like, why is he so rude?
Do you remember the little kid that kept saying no?
Yeah. Why was he so happy?
I don't know, but you know what I found funny about that? She's talking to him about his comics, which basically were like highlights for kids. Uh-huh. And the one little kid comes up and takes it, and he's
I saw that. Yeah. That was great. I was like, why did he steal it?
And then how about the orderly? He was rude as anything.
Was he speaking English?
I think he was an Indian English guy.
There were a lot of Indian. Like the little boy was Indian, and then they cut to him, and he was Indian. Is that his son or something?
I don't know. Did you see the members only jacket he was wearing?
No, I didn't catch that.
It looked like a members only jacket.
Damn it! I missed that. Shoot.
My favorite though was the police inspector and then his bumbling sergeant.
Yeah, I don't know if they did a good job with that.
It was like Benny Hill, but like it was like an unfunny Benny Hill.
Yeah, it was.
They were decent, but man, but the awkwardness of Frank Oz as Mr. Collins, the American Embassy guy.
Yeah, he was a jerk too.
Yeah,
when
the doctor held him down.
Yeah, and he goes, please, David, please calm down. Like he just found out his friend died.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want him to do? He said, there's no need for all this. Calm down.
It's like on Golden Pond. Norman!
Norman! I don't know what that is.
It was Paul Newman and some chick. I forget her name, but it was like, Norman! Oh, goodness, Norman!
Yeah, I still don't know what you're talking about. That's all right. All right.
It's black and white. It's before your time.
That's before color was invented?
Yeah.
That's what I tell my kids whenever they see a black and white picture. I'm like, yeah, that's before color existed. I'm not sure if my 9-year-old still believes that. I had him going for a while.
Oh, that's good. That's always fun when you convince your kids of stuff like if you get your ears pierced, feathers come out.
That's pretty cool.
Stuff parents tell their kids.
Yeah, right?
So it's always entertaining.
It's fun being a parent. Now, what about his crazy dreams? His first dream, he's running through the forest, and he annihilates a deer.
Naked, by the way. There was a lot of male nudity in this. Thankfully, there was no twigs and berries.
Yeah, he was running. He was running through that forest. No, you can see his Django was unchained.
I wasn't looking for his G unit.
Yeah, I kind of looked. I saw it.
You looked. Oh, you gross.
I think I saw the sack. I'm not sure. It could have been a sack. Looked like a sack.
Well,
maybe.
You know what though? It was the '80s, so maybe all you saw was jungle.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It looked like junk. But anyways, he was running through the forest, and I don't know, the way he was eating that deer, it looked really good to me.
I don't know, man.
He was tearing into that deer.
He was, man, he was tearing that thing up. Wow, he's got some strong jaw muscles.
Strong jaw muscles.
Tear that deer up. He just like ripped he basically just ripped the head off like it was snapped into it like it was a Slim Jim.
Yeah, he did. He did. He did. And then he has the ridiculous dream where they attack his house.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and they're shooting. What was that scene? Did you see when they shot the mom and she like flew across the kitchen?
I don't know what that scene was, man. But all I know is at the beginning of the scene, had the Muppets on it.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, had Kermit and Miss Piggy, and guess who did the voice of Miss Piggy? Frank Oz.
Yep.
That dream, man, it was like.
And then one of those guys comes in and kicks the TV in like effortlessly.
Yeah, like he had a vendetta against the TV.
But it smashed so easily.
Well, I don't know, man. If a whole bunch of stormtroopers came in and assaulted my house with automatic guns, man, that was weird.
It was weird. Well, hopefully you're not the droid that they're looking for. That's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah, well, I hope not.
Or hopefully you can convince them with your Jedi mind tricks.
Jedi mind tricks. You gotta have the Jedi wave too. Man,
these are not the droids you're looking for.
Well, and the one dream where he's running through the woods, and then he sees himself on a stretcher.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
She comes up to him, and then you see him on the stretcher, and he looks like Boo Berry.
No, he looks. You know who he looked like when he? You mean when he turned into that thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that purple thing.
He looked like Boo Bear. He looked like Thriller.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's what he looked like. Yeah, when Michael Jackson was turned into the werewolf.
Well, and not to give it away, but that's kind of like what happened at the end. No, that was a video game I was playing the other day. Never mind. Sorry.
Well done.
Yeah. But when he's in the hospital and he wakes up from his, I guess it was his first or second one, she asks him, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "Goodness, I've had a nightmare." Like so calmly. Who says it? Like, wouldn't you be sweating? You know, you're all clammy. Your eyes are all. You know, you're checking yourself if it's real or not.
Well, that's what movies make you think that it should look like.
No, when I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, what the hell's going on? You know, you're in a different environment.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, what the heck was that?
Yeah, that was pretty good. And then she takes him home. Weird.
Well, this was before HIPAA. Before you could do that.
That's true. That's true.
Before it was illegal for you to do that. But when she takes him home, she gives him the grand tour. And where does the tour always end?
In the bedroom.
And she like tells
him... Or the shower.
Well, yeah, clearly. And she tells him her life story.
Yeah.
I've had 7 lovers, 3 one-night stands. Okay, I didn't ask you any of that, but that's cool.
At that point, you know you're getting laid, right?
Well, you hope so at least.
When a girl's telling you their story like that, you know, okay, I guess we're gonna go back to the shower.
Yeah.
I guess we're gonna hit the showers.
Yeah, oh, man, I'm sweaty. I haven't had a shower in 6 days. I'm pretty rank.
Right, exactly. The shower scene was pretty hot.
There wasn't much to it though, but yeah.
But the kissing was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was 80s kissing. It was 80s kissing. It was. I can't get over it. It's just.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
It's like you kiss by only touching your lips and not even opening your mouth.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
It's like putting a cap onto a water bottle. That's all it is. It's like. Yeah,
it is.
That's all. That's it. We kissed. We turn our heads a little bit. We kiss. It's like a peck every time.
Without screwing the bottle, because like you never quite get it on.
Yeah.
You know, it's like so it can like fall off at any point. It was uncomfortable.
It was strange. I mean,
but the rest of it was good. She was biting him and stuff. That was great, dude.
Yeah, I was like, well, maybe she's into that whole werewolf thing.
Yeah, I kind of wanted him to turn right then and there. Speaking of turning.
Yeah. How about that? That was. Do you think that was a little overly dramatic though, where he rips
Dude,
his shirt in half and then takes it off?
I thought no, he couldn't rip it all the way off. I thought it was awesome, man.
It was awesome.
I thought it was so well done. I thought he did a great job. Like he's just sitting there, cool, calm, collected.
He was bored out of his skull.
He looked in that fridge like 5 times.
Which was a mini fridge, by the way.
Which was a mini fridge. It was really small. It was, but in her defense, it's only her, right? I guess.
Yeah, but
her bookcase is bigger than that.
Her bookcase.
Her bookcases. she looked really smart.
Yeah.
No, but he was so bored, and he's just sitting there on the couch, and then just bam.
He was reading. That's how bored he was. Yeah. Well, you think about it.
He actually picked up a book. That's how bored he was.
It was 81. It was 20 years before the internet was really readily available. No cell phones, no games, no Tetris, no Angry Birds.
He had like 4 channels on that old ass TV.
That thing was crazy looking.
Yeah. But
no remote.
No remote. Your fingers.
Remote. Yep.
Let your finger do the walking. But I thought it was well done, man. Like the transformation was so good. I mean, for that time, let's keep it real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
for that
keep
time,
in context.
It was great. I thought it was just like I remember. Remember last week I told you that I just remember that scene because it freaked me out.
Yep.
The whole time I'm going, because it really looks like he's in pain. The way he's screaming and just like looking at his hands, like, oh my god, he's in so much shock.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy. That scene was crazy. I loved every minute of it.
Well, with when the hands started to go, and then he got the teeth, and his his feet distended a little bit, and then it kind of, you could really tell when the back hair started to grow. It looked like a shrub was blowing in the wind.
Yeah, it did.
But what took the longest was the face to transform.
Yeah, it did.
But then his ribs started to stick out more, and
yeah, you hear the bones breaking.
Yeah, but you never saw him leave the apartment after he turned.
Yeah, how did he leave? Did he just twist the door open?
He just opened the door.
Because her apartment was fine. It's not like she came home and was like, "What happened in here?"
Well, did she? She never even mentioned his clothes that were left half ripped off, and
right.
She was just like, "Wonder where he's at."
Right. So that was, I guess that's a little weird that they didn't touch on that at all.
Yeah, kind of an oversight, a small hole. But I mean, keep in mind too. I mean, 81 is when this came out, and there was no such thing as a cell phone. I mean, there was a payphone which he used, and he called collect before you could call collect.
Right.
But it was, I mean, you kind of have to step outside of current technology when you watch it. I mean, especially with this movie, keep it in context with the CGI that's available. I mean, they're remaking this movie. Projected date is 2014, so I'm sure they're going to have a lot of new. Well, obviously, it's 25 years later almost. They're going to have a lot of different ways to do it. But just speaking to this one, yeah, I mean, it was pretty intense. You're just like, you're so captivated by watching it, by watching him change. It's like, you just make faces. You're like,
right.
Oh.
That's exactly what I was doing. I was like, ooh, that looks like it hurts. And the whole time they're playing jazz.
Was it Blue Moon that they were playing again?
No, it wasn't Blue Moon.
No, it was CCR, or was that right before that?
I think it was like jazz or some type of jazz.
Yeah, I think you're right. But notice how they led up to it.
Blue Moon was in the beginning, I think.
Well, and toward the middle. It was also at the end, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
They played Blue Moon 15 times, 3 or 4 different versions of that song. But I love how after she leaves for work, he gets locked out of the apartment and breaks in through the window. But up to the point where he transforms, they play Creedence Bad Moon Rising. It's like, well, this is kind of foreshadowing, but I think the tone of the song is a little off.
Right.
But then again, they just used songs that were current or that were fitting-ish. They didn't actually have, an artist write a song for the movie. At least not as common as it was.
Right. I mean, I thought it was that whole transformation was like the kind of the payoff for the movie.
Oh yeah.
To me, it was a payoff, which kind of sucks because you have like another half hour, 40 minutes left.
It was about an hour into the movie, so you had about 35, 40 minutes left.
Okay. So like that was the payoff for me because it was so well done. I just thought it was great. I mean, the rest of the movie kind of fell short to me because of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at that point, then you really start to see Jack a lot, who had been kind of harassing, for lack of a better term. He had been harassing David, saying he's got to kill himself because he's a werewolf. He's the last of the bloodline. He's going to kill more people. And, then he goes on this rampage and he kills a whole bunch of people. But here's my question. So the werewolf can only pass its bloodline on to one person as it dies? Is that how that works? Because don't you think, if he would have killed...
I think that if the person lives...
Oh.
Like if he mashes up somebody and the person lives, then they become a werewolf.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
They never really explained that in detail.
I wonder how many people that other guy had following him.
True. I'll tell you what, though. Go ahead.
Well, look, I was just going to reiterate that was the payoff for me, and after that, after he transformed, he went on a rampage. He went all over the city.
He did. Well, what did they say? 6 different parts of the city.
Yeah, it's like everything happened at once. And how was he so stealthy? How are you in the middle of the subway? How did you get there? Nobody saw you going down those steps in the subway, and this guy's the only person that uses the subway.
Well, I have a little problem with that scene too, because that guy, he heard a noise, and if you hear a noise in the subway,
by yourself. Yeah,
I'm thinking there's somebody that's going to try to mug me.
Right.
So I'm going to get up at a dodge. I'm not going to stand around and say I'm going to report you. I'm going to turn around and haul ass.
Yeah, right.
There. And he just kind of like, get out of here. I'm going to tell on you.
Yeah.
And then he trips going up the escalator and just lays there.
Yeah.
Like, dude, get up.
Not that it's going to help, but get up and run.
Yeah, because it would have been cool. Maybe they did that because they couldn't simulate a werewolf or wolf running up the stairs. But then again, you didn't have to see it because you didn't really see much of the wolf.
Right.
Because it was, veiled in darkness. You only saw really when he transformed, in certain angles.
Right.
But, after that, when he wakes up at the zoo in the wolf cage.
Yeah.
Again, naked. And
I gotta tell you, being a werewolf is the most inconvenient mythical creature you could be. Because when you turn it, first of all, you can't control it. Whenever there's a full moon, you just turn, no matter what you want to do. No matter what.
You might have.
You're gonna kill. No matter what.
Can't control it.
And after you're done with all that, you're gonna end up naked somewhere.
That would ruin my evening.
Yeah, and you don't know where you are.
I'd probably be late for work. I'd be really mad.
You would be definitely late for work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so inconvenient to be a werewolf, dude. It's terrible.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on record and say that I would rather be anything but a werewolf.
Yeah, let me be a leprechaun or something.
Get all free Lucky Charms.
That's right.
But after he goes on that first rampage, that first night, it's a full moon the next night too, and he tries to get a rest. Alex and the doctor kind of put it together, or he puts it together after he visits the same place, and they finally tell him, at the slaughtered lamb, the one guy tells him, and the other guy gets pissed.
Yeah, the dart guy.
Yeah, the chess player guy. So he puts 2 and 2 together, and he doesn't say that he could become a werewolf, but he kind of does it under a medical guise of post-traumatic stress or something along those lines, and and calls Alex and says, bring him in. We got to get him taken care of. And he realizes where they're going and tries to get arrested, and the cop's just like, "Go away, you." Mm-hmm. But yeah, then he transforms again that night.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't know.
Well, actually, before he transforms, he sees Jack at the porn theater.
What was that porn about? Did you see there was a guy and a girl, and they're doing whatever they're doing, and then a guy comes in and goes, "You told me you would never do this again," and the guy goes, "No, I didn't," and then the girl goes, "I don't even know who you are,"
and he just leaves.
And he goes, "Oh, okay," and he just takes off.
Yeah.
He turns around and leaves. I thought he was gonna join the party. He just left him alone, and then everything just proceeded as normal.
Yeah, and then the chick's like making phone calls and walking around topless. I had no clue what was going on there.
Yeah, it was the worst. Now I don't know how you watched the same thing I saw, but was it a little dark to you?
That was one of the things. It was really hard to see what was going on at night in the theaters, in cars.
Yeah.
Because it was so dark, it seemed like either the film was underexposed, but my guess is that the film was just never upconverted or never cleaned up or remastered or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I noticed that too. I made a note of that it was the lighting was it could have been better.
It could have been a lot better. I thought I changed the brightness on my TV. I put it all the way up, and I still couldn't make out certain things. Like when Jack was in the apartment with Dave in the nurse's flat, I couldn't see him.
Well, especially, where there was really a good chance for it to shine, the makeup was in the movie theater.
Yeah.
But you really couldn't see them. I could see their suit. I could see the suit where the suit ended and where the shirt started because it was a white shirt. But I
couldn't even see that. All I saw was teeth and eyeballs.
Oh wow.
That was it.
Yeah, I think if the lighting could have been a lot better.
Yeah.
I think. Even toward the end after he changes again, and there's that car accident that won't stop.
Car accident that won't stop.
It was just like one car after another after another. It's that super stage movie car accident. It's like one car crashes into another, and then there's another one that sideswipes it, and then one slams on his brake and almost.
Was this at the end?
Yeah, this is toward the end.
Okay.
Yeah, after he changes again, but man, that car accident just went on forever. But did you see that ending coming? I know you've seen the movie before, but did you see the ending coming the way that it would have ended?
Yeah, they always end up dying at the end. It seems like in werewolf movies. Spoiler.
Yeah, it was very abrupt. You kind of knew that she was really into him.
I really like that because I think it's cliche. I think it's a huge trope, like movie trope, when there's a person that turns into a monster and somebody comes over and they're like, "It's me, it's me," and then the person is like, they won't do anything.
Yeah,
but in this case, he like snarled and went at her.
Yeah.
And was gonna tear her up too, and then he got shot.
Yeah, they were the same cut sequence, same cut scene, or style rather. Cut to everybody with the gun, taking him out.
Which I don't know how she didn't get shot, but whatever.
Well, yeah, who knows?
She was right in between the bullets and him. So I'm not really sure how she didn't get a bullet somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. Clever.
Got some smart bullets.
Yeah, it's like the bull. But
although we wouldn't know if she got hit because the movie just like stopped right there.
Yeah,
it showed him and bam, then it just went to music and credits. So it did stop abruptly. You're right.
Well, it would have been. There was a loose sequel to this movie, American Werewolf in Paris, which came out in '97.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. That was a really good movie too.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I should have, but I didn't get a chance to watch it. But but completely different group of characters, actors. So it's just loosely based on.
But it's the same premise. It is, they're backpacking. The same stuff. When you kill somebody, they stay with you until you die, and all that. But the only thing is, it was done, I think, in the early 2000s.
97.
97. Okay, late 90s. So the special effects are a lot better.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So at least you have some type of CGI going on.
Well, looking at the movie, it is regarded as one of those movies. One of the more scarier movies because you don't see the werewolf a lot. I was listening to a podcast with Joe Rogan was talking about it. And he was saying it's one of the scariest movies that he's ever seen because of the inability for the viewer to actually listen, to actually see the villain, the werewolf.
Okay.
So I mean, it adds a little bit more mystery to everything.
Okay. For me, it was just creepy when he was changing. That freaked. That's the part that I remember as a kid because it freaked me out.
Did pretty well. I mean, yeah, it's it's definitely not for a kid to watch as much as it is for like teenager adult.
Sure.
Did pretty well in the box office though. Budget of $10 million in 1981, grossed 61.9, almost 62 million. The American Werewolf in Paris did not do as well. Budget of 25 million, box office of 26.5 million.
Okay. Now the thing about American Werewolf in London is that it's a cult classic.
Absolutely.
A lot of people like that movie. A lot of people remember that movie from the 80s.
It was an innovator.
Yeah, it was, and it got an Academy Award for special effects and costumes, something like that. Which well deserved because that and that's all from the transformation scene is what I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely made the movie.
Yeah, and that's also the one time you get to actually see the wolf, not in full transformation, but you see it. So so that was the end of the movie. All right, have a good night. Good night, folks.
so in the movie, or based on the movie, based on watching it again, how would you rate it? And we'll use our rating system again. 1, you won't watch it again, or 5, you will watch it immediately after watching it.
Okay, I will say this. I probably wouldn't watch it again. But if I'm changing through channels and that movie's on and it's on the transformation scene, I'm all in.
Okay.
And then when that's over, I'm changing the channel. Because that was the payoff to me.
So let's call that a 3, maybe.
Yeah, we'll call that a 3. I'll watch a scene from it. How about you?
I'd probably say this is the only viewing that I had of this movie. The nurse was pretty cute.
The nurse was pretty cute.
But I don't know that I would watch it again unless I was telling someone about it who hasn't seen it before.
Right.
So I'm gonna say a 2.
Okay. That's still not bad. Because you would probably say something like, the movie's okay, but that transformation scene, you got to see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, granted, with YouTube and everything, you can call it up whenever, but
yeah, that's true. Damn it. That's so true. But I mean, that transformation scene was awesome to me.
Yeah. It was definitely a good scene.
Yeah, it was a game changer, like you said earlier.
Yeah. So, but that's American Werewolf in London. I think we're done talking about that.
I think we're done talking about that. Let me just say one thing. It's not about the movie, but I listened to one of our podcasts. I think it was Teen Wolf the other day, and I'm listening. I'm like, why the hell? I said, you know what? Me and Sean need to slow down because we're rushing through this thing. We're talking fast, right? And I look at my iPhone. I look at the podcast. I had it set for 2, like the speed. No. It was like 1.5. And I'm like, oh, no wonder. Like I'm dumb. I just looked at it and said, I'm dumb. So I had to scale it back, and then it was all right.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. Speaking of that, and kind of going with what we talk about, on a weekly basis, it's just you and I. But having guest panelists would definitely help the conversation. I mean, we could talk about this movie all day long, except we're done talking about it. But if we had more opinions, if we had more, even if it's just a guest, we would love to have guests on. Come to us. Come to the community page. Come to the Google Plus page, the Facebook page,
the Twitter page.
The Twitter page, exactly.
It's Crossing Streamz all across the board, all of them. Just Crossing Streamz with a Z.
And no different than if you want to be a guest panelist, or like this week we got a request for Just One of the Guys.
Yep.
So we're gonna watch Just One of the Guys, which is on Amazon this week.
Which I'm so glad that somebody requested that, or somebody emailed about that, because that movie is like one of my favorites. And I won't spoil what I think about it, but Sean, mark my words, there's a payoff at the end that you are going to love.
Well, and what you're referring to is that, like almost every other movie we've watched, I've never seen it.
Exactly. You've never seen it, and I have, so I have a little bit of an advantage.
Now, I'll tell you, though, I do know a little bit about the movie, only because back home in Pennsylvania, there was a radio show that I would listen to, which I would actually podcast because it's on in the mornings. It's Preston and Steve in the morning on WMMR. They're on iTunes, but they had a movie night where they rented out this old movie theater, and they played Just One of the Guys. They've also done a couple other ones, like the infamously awful Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus. But so they talk about the movie a little bit. I know some of the details and some of the plot, but I don't know how it ends. And
I really hope they didn't spoil the payoff for you.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that.
And every guy out there knows, and every girl, I would say, knows what I'm talking about. That have seen it. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's on Amazon Prime. It's not on Netflix. Sorry, those of you who have Netflix, not Amazon Prime. But I'm sure you have other ways of watching it.
Yep. Yeah. But so Just One of the Guys, like you said, on Amazon. And so we're looking for, as we said, looking for guest panelists. Maybe if you're good and you mix well with the show, maybe become a permanent member.
Become a permanent.
Right?
Wait. Say that one more time because you went out again.
Is that crossingstreams@gmail.com?
Crossingstreams@gmail.com. That's with a Z. Anytime you say Crossing Streamz, it's with a Z at the end of streams.
G+2/Crossing Streamz, Google Community.
Yep, you can search all that.
Facebook.com/Crossing Streamz.
Yep.
Friendster, MySpace.
Friendster, MySpace, AIM.
Yeah. Oh man.
But we have also on Twitter, Crossing Streamz with a Z. I think that's about it, dude.
Yeah. So that's tonight's show. Again, next week, Just One of the Guys. This was American Werewolf in London.
And we'll see you next week for another episode of Crossing Streamz.